Hey, what's up, everybody? Kendall here with the Wealthy Legacy Journey and all of our really cool products that we are building, doing to help you guys succeed and thrive. As you can see by the title of this episode, I am very strongly contemplating writing a book. And I know probably out of the gate, you're going to think this kid's a little young to be writing a book. And I kind of thought the same thing, but as I kind of thought about it, I don't want to write a book about my experiences. I'd really like to write a book that's a compilation of what's worked for me, what we've read through these different books that we've done as part of the Wealth Legacy journey, and what everything would look like. And so the purpose of today's episode is I'm still chewing on whether I should write this book at all or not. And so if I don't write the book, this will be the, I guess, first, last, and only episode within this series. But if I do write the book, then this will be the beginning of what I think could be a really exciting, fun journey. But, I wanted to share what was my heart behind this book. I actually applied, you know, my own logic and thinking and tools of success to the writing of this book. And so I'm going to go to this right quick. It is, where is this at? Here it is. So the title, I think, of this book, I'm very early, like I said, on in this writing process. The title of this book being The American Dream or Lie, where you fill in the blank. And, really the whole purpose of the book is, oh man, I didn't have my Google Doc pulled up ahead of time and I totally should have. And this is so unprofessional. I'm sorry, but you know what? A whole bunch of the Wealth Legacy journey is kind of unprofessional. I like it that way because I don't have to edit these videos in, at least for now. Maybe I'll hire somebody one day and then I'll have to get more prim and proper. I'm trying to not say it's one of my goals. Everybody, if I say just call me out in the comments because I will see that. I'll go, man, I don't want negative comments in the comment thread. I need to get better about this. No ums. I want to know what I'm going to say. I say this to Liliana all the time. Slow down, think about what you're going to say, and then let it come out as a whole thought. I'm going to say it to my little 4-year-old. I better be willing to apply it myself, right? Drink my own medicine, isn't it? Take my own medicine, whatever it is. Taste of your own medicine. That's what it is. So, the American dream or lie, the roadmap to escaping the American trap and building extraordinary wealth. But here's the real question that we're asking. Does the American dream still exist today? And if it does, then how do we reach it for ourselves? Why do I ask this question? Well, my grandfather, when I was a kid, he opened up, I think it was actually before I was even born, he had this. He opened up a cabinet shop, struggled to ever get it to a place that it would thrive, and eventually had to shut the doors. I've also watched my dad start and not, I've heard stories of my dad starting multiple companies that never took off. My dad's always talked about and wanted to build wealth, was never able to achieve that wealth. And I grew up in a middle class family. Uh, there's that again. I've grown up in a middle class family. My mom lost multiple homes growing up. My dad had a pretty normal childhood. My grandparents have been through a lot of financial struggles. On my mom's side, my grandparents on my dad's side, they were very traditional, almost Dave Ramsey approach to how they handled their finances. Uh, there's that again. Living tight. Most of my dad's upbringing, investing smartly into the market, just that slow growth pattern over time. But I wanted to look at how do you build the American dream to a place where I could have the financial freedom to do what I felt God's calling me to do in my 20s or 30s. I don't have to wait till my 60s to where I just retire and I have enough to help me survive for the rest of my life, but I can't actually thrive. What does it look like to build up an inheritance to the point where it can be a blessing for your children's children, right? Like the Bible talks about. And so that's been the whole purpose of the Wealthy Legacy journey. That's why on this third reset, I said, I want to do things differently. I started this podcast. I want to create things to be able to help the community in order to be able to flourish and thrive. Each of us individually be able to grow. We've been reading these books and they've inspired me to this place where I thought I want to write a book. So I've put a lot of information together. Here's where I'm at right now, though. First, of course, you have the 4 steps to success, right? What are those? Number 1, where do you want to go? Number 2, where are you at right now in relation to where you want to go? Step number 3, what are the steps it's going to take to get from where you're at to where you want to go? And step number 4 is what's the next right step? And then take that step. So where am I? Where do I want to go? Well, I'd really like to create what I plan to do if I take on this project. Like I said, I'm still back and forth if I'm going to take on this project. If I take on this project, I will be writing a best-selling book that will draw in an audience that lives currently in the poor and middle class, but they are seeking how to break out of that hold, right? This book that I will write will give them the mindset shift to break through that glass ceiling of society in order to build real wealth. This book will be the gateway, which will point them to other tools within the wealthy legacy journey. The idea is that this is really the first stepping stone on the path into the wealthy legacy journey culture. So if you guys have been keeping up with the videos, you'll notice that we just put a pause on Double Dare Your Money from 0 to 1,000 and also 1,000 to 10,000 brackets. We're still working on 10,000 to 100,000 behind the scenes because that's where a lot of my wealth is personally going right now. So it's very real. And this is where I'm at personally. But with that said, I felt that launching this book would probably be a better first stepping stone for the wealthy legacy journey community as a whole. And so just, the ecosystem of our business, if I was looking at it from business, this is the lowest level of the value ladder, which is going to be easiest for most people to get on. I can build a following, I can build an audience, and then eventually we can come out with this product, Double Dare Your Money, which is really the step-by-step guide of how to build the American dream. The book is it possible to build the American dream? And I want to go into a whole bunch of resources and information from other authors. A lot of the books that we've read will be applied. Actually, I think every book that we've read, most every book that we've read will be in this study. And there's going to be a lot of other books that we haven't read yet that are on my list that are going to be a part of this study. So it's going to be a lot of work. There was a lot of books and resources that I put together. I think if I were to do quick math in my head, I think there's got to be roughly like 12 books and 12 articles. So I'm going to guess, the amount of content having to go through about 25 different pieces of content, some of them being pretty significant amounts of content to have to go through. So this is going to be a big commitment if this is something I decide to take on, but I think it could be a wonderful first step for our culture. So the question is really the next thing, where am I at right now? Well, I know how to write essays. Praise the Lord, thanks to my mom. She sent me to a really good school for writing papers when I was in high school. I think it's the Potter School. I can't remember. Not that that really means anything to you guys specifically, but I learned a lot about how to structure an essay, how to write a paper. And so I feel very confident in how to write essays. So that's one thing. I know how to write a short thing. So then I think, okay, well, if I'm going to write a book, instead of thinking of it as this massive long paper, let me just think of it as a bunch of each chapter, each segment of the chapter is like its own individual paper, but I have to make it flow. But it's basically just writing a whole bunch of essays. I can do that. If I'm passionate about the topic, that's something I'm willing to take on. I've read some of the books that I'd want to incorporate research from. I can get the rest of those books. And for me personally, I'm about to break into the 6-figure net worth. That's where I'm at right now. So I started to think, well, what are the steps to get from where I'm at right now to having a full-fledged best-selling book that's the beginning, that really could be the beginning of the wealthy legacy journey culture as a whole. So I have kind of micro steps inside of macro steps. So really, step 1, a couple things that would fall into that, step by step in this order. Identify the subject of the book, which we've done. Identify the identity or the title of the book, which we've done. Secure the domain for marketing the book. I've done that. I now own the AmericanDreamerLie.com as well as AmericanDreamerLie.com. So if I start to build this thing out, it was $20. It was like something I really think I want to do. So I went ahead and secured the domain before I started talking about it. So I can market it directly through that URL. create a skeleton slash table of contents for the book. So what is the rough frame going to look like? When I was taught, whenever you write an essay, that you want to start off with the skeleton so you can kind of get a roadmap for what is it that you're going to create. I mean, really, if you think about it, that's just almost taking this 4 steps to success and literally pushing it into the book, going, okay, where am I at right now? Here's what I want to write about. Where do I want to go? I want to have this obviously full of information, valuable information, the right information. So I want it to be full and well-rounded, but here's kind of the rough framework. So I created that rough framework already, right? I have 3 different sections filled up with chapters of what I would talk about, how to walk through those sections, as well as one of the things I really want to incorporate in this book are 2 things. At the end of each chapter, I want to have just a page with lines on it so somebody can come through and write their notes. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. He had that at the end of each chapter. I thought that was really awesome. It was a great place for me to be able to just write all my thoughts out about that specific chapter, just to look back at the chapter and reflect. That's one thing I want to have in each of the chapters. The other thing is I love books that have a quote that pertains to the upcoming information right at the beginning of a chapter. I feel like it kind of frames the mindset that you're going into that chapter with. It just gives you this awesome little golden nugget. Another one of the things on my list as well is identifying which resources from others, other established authors I can refer to build confidence with my audience. The idea in that being, hey, if I have a book that's full of information from Jim Collins, Dave Ramsey, Robert Kiyosaki, Myron Golden, one other, and many other many other entrepreneurs, business people, investors, right? If I can pull from them, because I'm a young guy, I'm a young buck, I get that. All I'm trying to do is take all this wealth and wisdom from all these other books and say, hey, here's what's worked for me. So I'm going to take the little bit that I've seen work for myself and some of the other entrepreneurs directly around me in my own life, take this vast amount of knowledge, understanding, wisdom, pull that in as well, tie that to what I've seen work in the marketplace around me, plug it all together, and build a book with that. That's something that I think can be powerful. So that's step 1. I've done all those steps. Identify the subject of the book, identify the identity of the work or the title of the work, secure the domain for the marketing of the book, create a skeleton / table of contents, and then identify which resources from other established authors I can refer to build confidence with my audience. I've gotten all that done. So step number 2 is, and I haven't even stepped into this step, there's 5 main overall steps. Inside of this, step by step again, reading Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson, because I really want to have a good idea for what this roadmap is going to look like. Expert Secrets is a great book where he talks about building a following and all these kinds of things. And so I think it's going to be a great book to help me just frame my mind for what are all the things that I need to think about. Because in my last episode of the Wealthy Legacy Journey I recorded just before I started this book is life is like a chess game, right? Think before you move. How can I look at the entire game of chess? How can I look 10, 20 steps ahead and try to figure out as many pieces as possible? Now, don't misunderstand this for analysis paralysis. I'm moving forward, but I'm trying to say, how do I move forward in the most logical way possible? Another helpful insight that I have is this isn't my first business to try to build. And so I've tried to build multiple businesses now over the last few years. And I can say, here's what I liked from that business. And here's what did not work. And here's what I did not like. If I were to do that again, this is what I would do. And I have that experience from multiple businesses over time. And so now I'm like, okay, I want to do this. 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 Here's how I want to start. Here's, how I want it to flow. Here's how I want to build my value ladder. Here's all these different things that I've learned. How do I apply it all here at one time? Because the Wealthy Legacy Journey is probably the most passionate project that I've ever worked on, which is a huge reason of why I think it's going to be successful. And that's why I'm trying to nurture this baby. That's why I even said, hey, Double Dare Your Money, great idea. I want to lead with this book. I want to gain an audience, and then I want to sell Double Dare Your Money to that audience. So it's going to be launch the book, and then a year or so later, launch Double Dare Your Money to that audience. Okay, so in step 2, again, then creating a rough outline for the funnel and the value stack. What are all the products that I want to be able to sell inside the value stack? Now, you might say, Kendall, isn't it a little bit premature? But I want to think through, like, for example, one of the things I was thinking about is I'm going to take a lot of notes in these books, and I'm probably not going to be able to incorporate every single note from every single book within my book, right? I'm just not going to be able to apply all of it. I'm not going to be able to apply all the quotes in this book. I'm not going to be able to give all those golden nuggets. So one of the value stack items I've already thought is I could create some kind of, sheet that's like, here's my golden nugget sheet for, you know, uh, there it is again, for Think and Grow Rich, or for Good to Great, or for Rich Dad Poor Dad. I can create these pages like, here's all the golden nuggets that I got from this book. A bunch of these golden nuggets wouldn't fit into the American Dream or Lie, but I wanted to give them here. That's an extra resource that people can get. I've already been thinking about, what's a series that I could create to be able to launch and market the book. And what would that look like? What would it look like? Obviously, creating an audiobook version. Once I have it, I can create an audiobook version. That's going to be a pretty easy thing to knock out. I've already thought of a good family game that I would like to create. I want to play with my family. I want to perfect it. I want to launch that with the book as well. The American Dream or Lie family card game or something like that, where it's just a fun way to be able to apply the principles learned in the book in a game-like fashion to gamify what we're learning to help just mentally swap out this crap old information that's keeping us stuck in the poor middle class for the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding that we need to be able to break through that glass ceiling in order to build wealth. We're going to just swap that out in a gamified version with the flashcard. So just all these kind of different things that could go into it. And so as I'm building, as I'm reading this information, as I'm building the content out, going, how can I use, for example, the books? How can I use that multiple ways? As you guys know, I do book reports. I even thought, well, what if I did a more in-depth book report that's only available to people who purchase, the American Dream or Lie toolkit? So if you buy the toolkit, you're going to get a more in-depth book report. You're going to get information, all the golden nuggets sheet from it. You're going to get the game cards that go with it. You're going to get the audiobook maybe that goes with it. You're going to, and so then I'm thinking, like, how do I repurpose what I'm already learning, doing, creating to go along with this book? I'm just checking back to my time, so I don't make this video too long. I'm going to start speeding it up here a little bit. And then also creating a game plan for marketing the book once it's written and published. So I've already been thinking about, like, what kind of thing would I build in order to push this out? And I've already been thinking, I don't want to say what the name of the series is, but I think I already have a name for the series of what I would do. But basically interviewing entrepreneurs, asking them the question, is the American Dream dead, or is it alive and still there? Like, asking that thought. And then I have a really creative way I'm thinking in my mind where basically I can ask them kind of like a big question at the end, like, what do you feel like is the number one thing that's holding, the average day Americans back in poor and middle class, and holding them back from breaking through that glass ceiling into the true American dream? Second question being, what was the big breakthrough that you had that propelled you from the middle class, the poor middle class, through that glass ceiling into building wealth for yourself? Asking those questions, and then all of a sudden, like, that's at the interview, end of the interview, it's been a great interview, and they're like, I feel like the answer to that question would be, and then just cut it off right there and be like, thanks so much, guys, for hanging out with us. Checking out this episode of, like I say what the name of the series is. Checking out this episode within the series. If you want to hear the golden nuggets from, so-and-so's answer, make sure that you go buy the toolkit, because inside the toolkit, we have the answers, all these answers. They're absolute golden nuggets. Like, there was so much gold inside of the video, the interview to begin with, but wow, were those answers incredible. So the only place you can get those specific answers is inside of the toolkit. So it's just everything pushing towards that product. And so that's a huge reason of, like, having to create that value stack up front, going, what are all the pieces of value that I can grab to put in there? How can I build that in such a way? So that leads me to step number 3, all at the same time. I have to read all the books from a perspective of writing this book, getting quotes to use in my book, begin building brand awareness. And I think the way I'm going to market myself is basically, hey, I'm a 20-year-old, or I'm in my 20s. I'm not a 20-year-old anymore. I'm in my 20s. This is my third time to build up to a 6-figure net worth. This time I'm doing things differently. This time I'm building the book, American Dream or Lie. I want to get on other people's podcasts to talk about what are we building, what are we doing, a little bit about Double Dare Your Money, what we're doing with tax sales, what we've done with real estate, what I've learned in all these different arenas, and just going, hey, there's probably not many people that have a six-figure net worth to begin with. Definitely not many 20-year-olds with a six-figure net worth. So I might not know everything in the world, but hey, praise the Lord, I might be doing something right. So just beginning to share that message a little bit, gaining a following, gaining an audience, and just starting to get that momentum rolling. Also began to build some product awareness of what we're doing here with the American Dreamer line, sharing like, hey, this is an upcoming product that we're working on, that we're building, right? So just getting that awareness, starting to build some more momentum within the Wealthy Legacy Journey community. Also, this fall I plan to be teaching at my church, or helping teach in some way the Financial Peace University class, because that's also my target audience of the people that I'm looking for, that I want to bring into the Wealthy Legacy Journey community. So it's just all these different ways of how can I build brand awareness? How can I start building product awareness well ahead of time, so when it actually comes time to launch this book, it's ready to go. Step 4, all at the same time, I'm going to be writing and editing the book. Begin lining up interviews to launch the book. I might even be able to begin starting to do some interviews as I'm finishing up the book. So that way I'm kind of primed on the book launch coming up. And then I need to be copywriting and trademarking the book title, the series, all the different stuff that I've come up with. I just need to make sure I go through those legal hoops, especially as I begin to build product and brand awareness around this. And then the final step, step 5, is building the sales funnel, publish the print, and sell the book. Have a full product launch, continue doing the interview series, doing as many interviews as possible, growing brand awareness, growing product awareness, build that funnel to $1 million plus, and that's success achieved. So, wow. We've been talking for 21 minutes so far, and that sounds like a pretty easy to do list, right? Feels like a freaking elephant that I have to conquer. So I'm really trying to count the cost. The Bible talks about the man who set out to build a vineyard, didn't count the cost, and stopped in the middle of the project. I'm trying to count the cost. We just had to put a pause and double dare your money because things are busy. We've been back and forth on, do we go to the tax sale this month? Do we not? Just because of the move and all this kind of stuff. And so there's a lot of moving parts right now. Do I add in writing a book right now? I don't know. But here's what I'll tell you. We're already doing the book reports. Obviously, we had a little bit of lapse in those because life got crazy, life is slowing back down again. We're doing the book reports. I'm already reading a book a month at least. So the first steps of this, one's reading Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson, which never hurts. I'm trying to build a company here anyways, right? So it's just another book to read, another book report. I love the book. I've read it like 3 or 4 times, so just read it again. One of the steps is reading all the books from the perspective of writing this book. So I'm going to be reading the books anyways. Why not read them from the perspective of writing this book? Wouldn't be that hard to create a game plan for marketing the book once it's written and published, and creating a value stack and the funnel and stuff like that. So I guess I kind of look at it as like, well, I know where I'm at, I know where I'd like to go, and it's really just step by step. So at this point, it's not overwhelming anymore. For me, I look at my list and go, the next step is reading Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson. Do I feel confident that I can write an entire book? I can go through 25 plus different pieces of large content to, go through all this information about what it looks like and how to build this stuff? I don't know. But I can tell you that I feel confident I can read Expert Secrets. And then after I build Expert Secrets, I can build a rough outline for the funnel and the value stack. And after that, I could probably create a small game plan for marketing the book. And then after all that, I could probably just start reading one book at a time from the perspective of writing this book, getting quotes to use in my book, start just adding more and more chunks of meat to the skeleton that I've already built. So that seems doable. So I think I will write this book. I think it's going to be very helpful for the ecosystem of the Wealthy Legacy Journey, for the business. This is a business that I'm excited about. I want to build. So why not? I guess that's the question. That's what it comes down to, is why not do this? So I'm thinking about writing this book, The American Dream or Lie. And this is just really a video of, do I do it or not? I don't know. If I have episode 2, I guess that I decided to go ahead and build it. If there's no episode 2, I guess you can understand that I decided not to write the book. But it's intriguing. I'm just trying not to jump into something too quick. I'm trying to be that tortoise, not the hare. So, yeah. I think that's all my thoughts that I have for this video. Episode 1, the book build for The American Dream or Lie. Do I do it? Do I not do it? I don't know. We'll find out. I'll find out. With all that said, though, no matter what, there's going to be other episodes of the Wealth Legacy Journey. I know we're going to go back and build Double Dare Your Money when the time is right. And we'll probably end up building this. So, with that said, it's been awesome hanging out with you guys on this episode of the book build. And I hope to see you guys on the next episode with some more updates, some more things we've done. Awesome seeing you guys. See you around. Bye, everybody.